G'day again. So today we're going to link quadratic equations to parabolas, and how we're going to do that is with the discriminant. So if we look at each of these equations which I'll put up and we just look at the discriminant, that'll give us the link. So let's look at the discriminant, and you should know the discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So this is what we're looking at, b squared minus 4ac. That's our discriminant. So let's look at the discriminant for each of these. Okay, that's b. So we're going to get 6 squared minus 4 multiplied by a is 1, multiplied by c is 9. So 6 squared minus 4 times 9 is 36. So we get 36 minus 36 equals 0. So the discriminant in this case is 0. Let's look at the discriminant in this case. So we're going to go 5 squared, because that's b, minus 4 multiplied by a is 1, multiplied by minus 2. A minus times a minus is a plus, so we're going to get 25 plus 4 times 2 is 8, so that's going to equal 33. So here we've got it equal to 0, here we've got a positive answer, and guess what? Here we're going to have a negative answer. So if we go 2 squared, which is b squared, minus 4 times a is 1, multiplied by 7, which is c. So this is going to be 4, subtracting 28. So we will equal minus 24. And we've got one of each type. A 0 discriminant, a positive discriminant, and a negative discriminant. Now you should know this will give us only one answer, or one solution. This will give us 2 answers, or 2 solutions, and this will give us no answers or no solutions. Now what does that mean? Well, on a graph, which I'm going to draw in a minute, what this means is for our x value, because we're solving for x, when we do, we'll put it into the proper equation, x equals minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. We're putting it into that equation. We're only getting one x value. Where this is 0, this is gone, it doesn't exist, so we're only getting that over that, so one answer. Here you've got 2 answers, so this exists, so you're getting this plus and this minus, so you get 2 answers. And here we've got a negative square root, so there's no answers. We can't actually solve it in this course to give you a negative answer. You could if it's extension 2, because we use negative square roots, but here we don't. There's no answers. So what this means for your graph is when you draw a graph, which we'll draw 3 of them in a second, it's whether it crosses x or not. So one answer means it obviously must touch x. 2 answers means it touches x twice, and no answers means it doesn't touch x. We'll come back and draw them in a moment. G'day again. So back for part 2. So I've just simplified it. This triangle is usually what they represent by the discriminant. So I've said the discriminant 0, 33, minus 24, 1 solution, 2 solutions, no solutions. So now we're going to roughly draw them on a graph. So now this has got 1 solution. Now you can factorise this because it's a perfect square. So this factorises down to x plus 3 all squared equals 0, which is pretty easy to find the solution. What have you got to put in there? Or actually equals y. We'll make it equal y. If we make y equal to 0, so here's y, then it's going to cross through the x-axis. So let's put y equal to 0. I'll just rub that out. And what have you got to put there to make it true? Well, minus 3, obviously. And there's no other numbers. So that says the only solution here is minus 3. Now we know, because of that square, this is a parabola. We know that's positive, so it's going to curve upwards. One solution means it can only touch x once, and the only way to do that for a parabola is if that is the lowest position. So the parabola will look like that. It will touch once. So if it's got one solution, and we know that's the equation, it's got one solution, it touches the x-axis once. Okay, when the discriminant's there, it's going to touch the x-axis once, so it's got one solution. This one's got two solutions. Again, it's positive. To figure out the solutions to this, you would put it into x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you put your values from there into that equation and you get your two answers. Now, I've done this previously. So your two answers for this equation are going to be, what is it, minus 5.4, and the positive answer is 0.3. So you've got these two answers that you get by substituting 1, 5 and minus 2 into A, B and C here. They're our answers, so they're our values of x. So 0.3, let's put some numbers on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so that's minus 5, that's positive 1. So 0.3 is roughly there, minus 5.4 is roughly there. We should make this a bit longer, shouldn't we? Let's say it goes there. So minus 5.4, let's say it's there, and there's our other answer. Right? We've got two solutions. It passes through x twice. This is a positive, so this parabola is going to curve like this. So we know the parabola will look, well, a bit crooked there, will look roughly like that. Passes through twice. See, touches that x-axis once, one solution. Passes through x-axis twice, two solutions. So let's rub that off, and we know they're our solutions. So this passes through x-axis twice. Okay? One solution, touch once. Two solution, touches twice. No solutions, it's going to touch none. It's not going to touch it. So it's going to float up in the air up here. Again, this is positive, so we know it's curving upwards. It's going to be like this. I call that a happy face. It's a big smile, so it's positive. So somewhere up here is going to be our solution. We don't know where it is, but it's pretty easy to figure it out. If we put 0 here and here, so if we make x equal to 0, that's that point there, what's y going to be? So 0 plus 7, well, y must equal 7. So we know this parabola will pass through there, so we don't know whether it's going to go that way or this way. Well, it's going to go one of those two ways. How do you figure it out? Pretty easy, just put another point in. So if that's 0, which we've just put in x is 0, let's put in 1 and minus 1. And you should be able to tell. You'd actually be able to tell as soon as you put the first point in. Let's put 1 in. What do we get? We don't know which way it's going yet. So put 1 in. 1 squared is 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 7 is still 7. So we've got 1 plus 2 plus 7 equals 10. So at this point 1, we know this value here is 10. So it's got to be there. So we've got these 2 points. We know it's curved up like that. So it must go like this. We don't know how far it goes down. It could go down to here. How do you tell? Let's put in minus 1. So if we put in minus 1 squared is still 1. 2 times minus 1 is minus 2. So we get 1 minus 2 plus 7. So this is 6. So it's slowing down pretty rapidly here. And if we put in minus 2, we get, let's change that to minus 2. Minus 2 times minus 2 is minus 4. And we get minus 2 squared. So that's 4. Take away 4 is nothing, 7. So we're back up to 7, and there it is. We can see our parabola forming pretty easily, and we know that number there is going to be 10 at minus 3, because parabolas are always even. So that number there's, oops, a bit high, isn't it? That number there is going to be 10. So it's going to curve up like that. No solutions, doesn't touch the x-axis. 2 solutions, touches the x-axis twice. 1 solution touches x-axis once, and you're done.